a format.
Sorry.
There is a format, and thank you, James. There is a format that I propose, and the formats follow a template that's we already know about it on the CVE. CVE is available on the repository for vulnerabilities. So the formats, as you can see, is follow like CTI, year, and AAA, which stands identifier for the protocol, Cardano, Milkomeda, any other chain and network. And there's this double-digit TT and NN, and TT is for combination of high-level category and sub categories. And for example, on-chain vulnerability will be 10, and under that, one will be the smart contract, two, like for example, 10 is actually, this become 11. So 11, if you see that 11 in this number, for example, here as an example, just an example, just by looking to that, you can understand that, okay, this vulnerability, this is a vulnerability, belongs to Cardano chain only. It is a vulnerability for on-chain because it starts with 11. And for the specific vulnerability identifier. So for example, this is reentrancy vulnerability in Cardano smart contract, which actually for this, we have other name in Cardano, we call it double satisfaction. But anyway, the point is that there are this format, and the format, Roman was telling me, he's a IOG employee, telling me that we need to cover about weaknesses as well. Because we have CVE, but we have, this is a CVE, and but we have another database called CWE also, which is stand for Common Weaknesses Enumeration. And so I come up with a structure, repo structure, which is like, so this is the high level, like vulnerability assessment. And under it, it will be all this chain, the Cardano, Milkomeda, and so on. And again, under that, like inside this folder, will be all these categories and subcategories for vulnerabilities, which inside them, there will be this file. The file that's explain about that specific vulnerability. It will be the title, the author, summary, description, risk assessment, which will be the likelihood and difficulty. We will go with the levels, like high, medium, low, and so on, and the impact and severity. And short step to reproduce technical details like tools, methodology, effective software version, all of them. And maybe you are seeing that something doesn't add up with the Cardano specific UTXO model, because we want to make it generalized for future sidechains. Right now, like Milkomeda, they do not follow UTXO model. They have EVM version, and they have different languages on the top of that EVM. So there are things that's actually version, and this will be affected. But we will have we have to talk about the tools like Cardano CLI, what version or node, some issue if haven't. Again, we will rise and we will issue a CTI identifier for that specific vulnerability or weaknesses. And then all these, and of course, mitigation, redemption, the redemption. What do I call it? Redemption. Remediation, sorry. And which is very important, and I've never seen it in so many places that talk about vulnerabilities, and of course, references. So this is a standard. If someone find a vulnerability or weakness or something, they are going to create something like this, make a pull request to this repo, and according to the categories and subcategories and protocol and year, it will be inside one of these folders based on this structure. But not just this. Of course, here we have weaknesses as well. but we have auditing report. I think it would be a good place to keep record of all auditing reports. Of course, open source, they want to publish, so everyone can read it, everyone can learn about it. And even if they want to become auditing vendors or entities, they can know what the standards are. And but by the way, you might again someone ask it, what's the relationship with the smart contract Gladiator? I'm coming to that. And of course, security control, access control, decentralized identity management, network security, application security, endpoint security, data protection, incident. These are some of the industrial standard, cybersecurity industrial standard, which is still, I think, works in blockchain technology, Cardano, anything, but still, because the DApp part of it is a smart contract blockchain, many part of it maybe it's cloud, it is website, Web2, whatever. So still we need to think about it and talk about it. And then, of course, best practices, how to write a secure smart contract, application design, configuration. This is mostly for stake pools. That would be more concerning, but sure, for nodes, coding practices, DevOps. Alex, I think, would love it. Cloud, we are going to use it a lot, like limited run. One of them is mobile application, sure. How to connect your, if you are going to develop your mobile application, how to connect that with a wallet or how to implement a wallet inside it. And IoT, which there are some people or project working to bring that in Cardano. Well, we're going to see, of course, security awareness training. This will be maybe for any person, especially for people that not are technical or something. But here we will put all the notes, documents, links, whatever regards to this, which several weeks ago we had that discussion on one of the live coding about how to secure your wallet. One of them will be this. So will be again maybe one sub folder for about wallet, and of course something which is very, in my opinion, crucial and critical. People should think about it. If something bad happened, then what? If your app get hacks, then what? Your first mistake shouldn't be your last mistake. So this place would be, I think, the place. But again, there are, I put this for security control as well. So this is a place for controlling, so DApp continuity and of course disaster recovery, but how to plan about it, that will be inside this. And of course, compliance regulation, which we are going to see. GDPR, maybe you guys know, this is about the privacy and so on. Some of them, most of them are about the security. ISO is something, I just put it there as an example, but this guy, FFIEC, if you guys don't know, especially my American friend, this is an important organization entity in financial world. Federal Finance Institution Examination Council. They are a big deal. If you are going to create a bank, whatever financial entity system, these guys are going to examine you that you are secure, you're safe for yourself and the whole system, and of course for your user. And these guys have a tool, cybersecurity assessment tool. It is expensive. It's some of versions. Some people try to make it free, but still. But anyway, maybe we can think about it, and maybe we can work on that, something like that. But still, I put it there so it would at least raise some question or something. Yeah, if you want to look up to these guys, they are kind of important. So let me find, sorry, let me chat. I'm going to share his name, this guy names. But by the way, I haven't pushed these changes. Okay, I was just talking finishing with certification working group. But first, what do you think, guys, about this? And then I'm going to talk about the relationship of this security stuff with or smart contract governance in general, and something that we will talk about, and I hope we will find some really cool stuff regards to this governance vulnerability, like proposal attack, buying votes, and so on. These are vulnerability. Some of them are on-chain, and of course, some of them can be off-chain, which I put it as kind of delegation vulnerability, but we can talk, and maybe we can. There is at least each of them can have 10, based on this format, can have 10 different subcategories. But if you think 2-digit is not enough, okay, no problem. We can add another T, or 2N, which is like 99 vulnerability per subcategory. It's not enough. We can add another N. This is just, we haven't decided. If you have any suggestions, sure, welcome. But yeah, hit me with your question regards to this, if you have any.
But Ali, when you speak of vulnerabilities, currently for the governance, anything governance which affects the validation process will be a risk for the whole blockchain, for example. But I don't understand, governance now on Cardano is not directly linked to the node design or any automation of changes, right?
Not yet.
Parameters. So for the moment, the governance won't be a vulnerability I'll be concerned with, but the contract library, and especially the key, like the delegation one, that one would be an issue, because if there's a delegation which can compromise the holding of the keys, then that's again the whole blockchain which can be compromised.
Not yet. There are not yet that much governance vulnerability for on-chain. For as an off-chain or weakness, we can even bring catalyst to it. I'm trying to find that general or very wholesome, inclusive format or structure. So we can bring all these issues that people are arising in town hall, everyone, and especially in session like today, we talk there. I mean, a database there. So we don't just again talk and talk. We have a really solid ground about it. But there are already attacks that can happen, and at least we need to talk about it. Like for example, proposal attack. You might say, what the hell is proposal attack? Or there are other attacks, like for example, in this certification working group, this Roman made this pull request for common vulnerability from Plutomic core and MLab, and this is, for example, for me is a bad practice that a very Optim Finance, they made a list like I think this was the list. They talk about one attack vector which I didn't hear from anyone else, and it is where is it? It was about protocol, unbounded protocol values. This can be attacked. They came up with the ID for themselves, not for whole blockchain, but for everyone. And they found that, okay, there can be something like unbounded protocol value. So we have already some attack surface for protocol in protocol level. And the transaction can create increasingly more protocol tokens in protocol UTX. So protocol should ensure that protocol values held in protocol UTX. So if you are going to design your dApp something that's going to touch these limitations, you should be warned. You shouldn't do that. So, but and where Roman found this guy, we don't know how he found it, but and he can see this is not really good looking stuff. So I think we are going to see it, and I'm proposing that structure to have that place. And so, yeah, maybe some people find a vulnerability or weakness in the protocol level, which it will give them some advantage to their governance proposal. Interestingly, if you guys haven't seen the video from Charles about the 5 pillar of 21st century, I think I've copied the link. In around that, I'm going to share if I find that link. Yeah, around this time, I'm going to share that. Interestingly, he proposed an idea. I shared that in chat that we will have this protocol, which is like a circle, everyone are equal. But one thing that I said it before, and interestingly, I'm going, and I found that I had this suspicions, but I think this can kind of approve it. Charles didn't talk about voting at all when he was talking about a protocol that will fight against that tyranny, that technological tyranny we are going to see maybe coming, I don't know, 10 years even, starting to see it. And he said that Cardano or this protocol there will be this blockchain or technology or this governance with protocols which an AI regulated. So I don't know, it was a slip from his mouth or something, but yeah, this voting, as you guys know, voting is not that much secure. I think we will find about that. And Charles Hoskinson, when he think that we need to one day we are going to use an AI, an open source, of course, transparent, all the good stuff, AI to use this protocol. So yeah, but we can have some like other places like protocol vulnerabilities as well. But I kind of thought maybe we can break down protocol because maybe it's not that much. Therefore I said like, okay, consensus mechanism and governance. But sure, if protocol we can go ahead. And in a smart contract, Gladiator, since we are talking about a lot of stuff about becoming a Gladiator, creating that system, we will talk about and we will test these stuff. And actually, those gladiators supposed to fight inside the UTXO will be about these. So I hope once, I don't know when, maybe in coming months, we will have that ground, we will have that enough repo and knowledge and people to test all these vulnerabilities and weaknesses in a safe place, and so-called a smart contract. Yeah, those contracts, those gladiator will be vulnerable, will be like weak or something, and where we are going to see, and even maybe we will find some new stuff, and hopefully we will add to this. So one of the, I hope, outcome of this session and all this time we are spending will be adding to this repository or database, in general, securing the network for next generation, for ourselves and so on. So yeah, I was excited to tell that each of these vulnerability, each of these guys, I hope each of these there are other auditing reports here from Polynomial. This is, I think, from MLab or something. We are going to test them here, and we are going to see that's how the hell they are vulnerabilities. So one of the, and of course, again, about the voting, and sure, if we find something about voting, if voting doesn't work, sure, no problem. We will add a CTI into the governance vulnerabilities. Okay, take care, Janti.
See you soon.
But see you. So let me see any person has a question. So, okay, no. But if you guys don't have any question, please feel free to ask. If not, let's start that. So around 2 weeks ago, we managed to reach the level for creating this guy. I mean, this creating the A1 gatekeeper reference to TXO. And as you can see, this big Cardano CLI and transaction building command. So today, I hope we're having enough time to go through this and break it down. And if you have any question, again, we can talk about it. But one thing I want to talk about today is how to batch transaction. So there's this bash script called Caesar revoke access control, and there are two spending, which actually they can be inside. Each of them can be one transaction. And of course, I think maybe you have seen, but if you haven't, don't worry, James going to show you, and we are going to talk about how to create like 15 inputs as a UTXO and like 30 or 20 output. So with the wallet, we can batch transaction already, kind of. I mean, maybe the term even not kind of that much good, but I'm saying that doing several transaction action in one transaction. Like, for example, you have 2 users or several users, and there are different interaction with your smart contract. Which approach is better? If you can put 2 completely different, I mean, maybe just some of the stuff are same, like PubKey hash is same, but two different contracts, or same contract, but 2 different UTXO as input or output, anything, these things, which each of them can be a transaction by itself. How about putting them into one transaction? Is it a good idea? Is it a bad idea? Is it cost worthy? Is it not? So we're going to see that it's an example, like 2, I just wanted to put 2 action regards to Caesar for revoking the governance and revoking the access control reference UTXO redeemer happening at the same time in one transaction. And we're going to see that is it a good design pattern for your dApp to batch, to compress, or to put several smart contract action into one transaction, or no, it is not a good idea. It would be better to go with individual transaction for like each transaction, regards to a smart contract, by the way, one transaction, one action, one redeemer. Okay, so we are going to discuss about it, because one thing that we are going to see in future about the RNR, batching these stuff, like several interaction with the gladiators, with the UTXO inside the proxy contracts, I mean the RNR proxy, and we are going to see that is it a good idea to put all these inside one transaction or not? Should we go with separately? If it is separately, if it is not related in one transaction, then how we can relate these different transactions together? So kind of a transaction can validate the next transaction. So transaction validation about something, but okay. But I'm seeing A's hands raised. So what do you think, A?
Hey, man.
Hey, long
Yeah,
time no
no,
see, my friend.
I know.
Welcome back.
Yeah, yeah, I've just been trying to keep busy, man. But yeah, no, it's good to to catch up. Just a quick question, going back to the security stuff.
Sure.
I'm curious if there's a visualization, like a diagram, which maps out the different um, vulnerabilities, whether in the context of the working group or just one that you've sketched out yourself. Because I think that would be quite valuable.
Definitely, that would be one another approach. Like there is a file called repo structure. Of course, there can be a file like SVG to create this diagram, and not just for like a static. No, we'll update it. But I just wrote this. Maybe I wrote about this in a certification working group 5 minutes before our meeting right now. So it's really ongoing discussion. But sure, the diagram, and of course, one of the reason for this identifier, for this referencing numbering method, where is it? This guy is not actually that much for humans. This is for tools. These are for program. We have many scanner tools like Acunetics, Fortify, all these tools, they use this identifier. And those tools, after like scanning or doing some analysis about your DApp, or sorry, about your application, web application or desktop application, doesn't matter. They will create this diagram. They will create this visualization so you can point out where it is. And one of those visualization, of course, is about those identifier. Like if you, if you are interested, you can click that identifier. Like they will use, they are using some colors as well, like red, orange, and green, blue. And if you, if something is red, of course, it's concerning, so critical, you will click on it and you'll see more stuff about it. So that visualization is not actually good option in my opinion. Is kind of necessary because security tools, the security quote unquote people are using this visualization because of the amount of data we have, so many stuff there. Just imagine like this repo structure. And maybe let me do something. Let me let me do something, let me use ChatGPT to visualize it right now. What do you think, Liz?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think from a signal intelligence or sort of like an OSINT standpoint, creating a working environment that has that dynamism, as you said, like being able to, have the equivalent of intelligent categorization or intelligence. I forget what the word is, but categorizing, how trustworthy, a bit of intelligence is and that kind of thing. Yeah, I think that would be quite helpful. Maybe in terms of visualizing it, one way to do it, I think right now might be using graph viz. Which could just sort of help, pointing how one thing relates to another thing, and what's good about graph viz is it would create sort of like a logical representation of it. There's like a code aspect to it.
I don't know. Are you in certification working group or not? If not, if you don't want for any reason, if people agree upon, I mean, in coming weeks on Wednesday, we will talk about that. And if everything fine, we will push the changes, and we will maybe even IG will create a separate repository about this. I want to read, and I actually ask you, please make an issue or pull request to add all these options or all these ideas. And so not only it will be recorded, it will be recorded there. So even I cannot pick it up, someone can pick it up and implement it. So let's see that can ChatGPT do it? So yeah, kinda. Yeah, that's nice.
Have you tried that before?
No, it's my first time.
That's all right.
I'm just, I was using another website called Free GPT because, as Iranian, cannot use so many stuff. So that's Free GPT is the same as the Chat GPT, but it's free and you don't have to register or something. If you want, you can use it. But I found some way to register myself in Chat GPT. So yeah, I'm using, but until I don't know when they will figure out I'm talking to them from a very, but I'm like Iranian, so I don't know when they will figure out and they will ban me or something. So let me put this in the, where was this? Okay, then let's copy this. Sorry. See, maybe it tried to make it visualize, but maybe I wasn't that much specific to how to visualize it. But still, I think this is actually better than this style. So doesn't look good, at least in VS Code. But yeah, actually, as I think we can use AI simply and very quickly. Maybe Mirror will implement an AI something, and it's simply again something like this. We can give it a data if especially that data has identified it, so it can be really easy to track, and that there is this template, everything is standardized, like there is this level for likelihood, for impact, severity, all these are the level. And for example, for severity, the combination of impact and likelihood will be the level of the severity. And all of these can be on-chain and off-chain for metadata. But yeah, that AI can actually do this for us. So we don't need even to create visual and maybe like, oh, it is a big thing. Which shape I should choose? Should I choose like a square, rectangle, or circle for this kind of stuff? No, I think just simply using an AI, we can doing it. But yeah. And I see again your hands. So, okay. So, yeah, visualization is great. But let me again start from the kind of beginning about the from the beginning of these hashes until we reach to this level, to this, and we will talk about that. This very important read-only UTXO, which here we've used this, where is it here? This switch for it, read-only TX in reference. And we are going to examine it into Cardano scan and see what's going on. And there are three different approach here, and that design pattern I choose for the contract. I mean, after some try and error, actually, found out that you don't need to use. I mean, these are kind of expensive, not that much, but it's expensive, kind of 50-something thousand lovelace. So you can use your spending TX in reference as your reference UTXO, as your quote unquote golden UTXO, and it will decrease the cost and even the complexity. So, but let me, before that, doing that, I need to recompile stuff, and I need to change some stuff. So if I want, since I want to get different addresses and different hashes, I just add an N here. You can do whatever you want, and you will end up with different hash, and therefore different address. So yeah. Let me add all of them in another. Check this is true, no problem. And the governance. But if you guys have a question, please feel free to ask. And the voting, no, we haven't implemented, never mind. So, okay, everything is fine. Let me get on with it.
Not really a question, but I've thrown in a link in the chat of one of the things I was thinking about with regards to like OSINT tools and stuff.
OSINT blockchain, if we use kinda, I haven't seen, there are some projects talking about GeoDAP or geolocation stuff. But by the way, for guys, if they don't know about OSINT, OSINT is a category, or let's say maybe the skill in cybersecurity to use information to locate people, places, and other data. So if you like, instead of using the actual address of some place, you will use metadata of around that entity, person, data to reach out to that data. So this is kind of the idea. For example, there is a photo, and let's say well, like a photo, let's say, for example. Okay, like mountain, okay. And there is someone here taking picture. Just by looking to that picture by help of a tool and so on, you can find out where that person's exact location is. This is very normal. Like, or by like someone is looking to the metadata around Elon Musk to track where he is right now, like tracking his jets and his airplane and so on, which is annoying to Elon Musk, and try to bribe him or so. But anyway, so this is the idea. But I think you are referring to the style, right? To this visualization.
Yeah, because like for example, if you click on any one of those, like it sort of expands further. And the tool is actually open source as well. If you scroll to the bottom, the GitHub link is in there. So one can imagine, you putting in a whole bunch of different data points, and people being able to traverse the graph easily, and being able to know what the severity of the different risks are and so on. Yeah, and again, it's just simple key value representation there. Hey, Newman.
Yeah, this is yeah, I think this is right. If we change this, JSON file, this children or something, name URL, I think this can create that structure for us. But how to create it, should we do that by hand? But yeah, thank you. That's a great idea. But we need to have a website to run this, or, but I don't know if someone wants to do that. Sure, maybe, you know, IHG wants to do that, but sure, that's good. Let me keep it somewhere, but yeah.
Apparently, it uses the D3JS library, as Newman just pointed out. Man, like,
Yeah.
dude, ChatGPT, like, just these LLMs are gonna just
Yep.
do so much.
They so, and by the way, they were LLM. Now they are not. Now they are like the GPT-4. GPT-4 is not the language anymore. It's kind of use the language model, but now you can give it an audio, visual, video, whatever, and it will understand it. So, but that token,
Multimodal.
that transformer, a structure is the revolutionary. But yeah, people are saying actually we will reach AGI. So, yep.
Multimodal.
But again,
model.
thank you.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah, I didn't mean to throw you off what you were doing before.
No, it's fine, it's fine. So for guys that I think some people didn't follow us, in the documents, there is a step, a system initialization about SVG, or if you have this extension, that I try to put all these script, or the starting the initialization of that system, the system that we are working on, step by step, and very maybe even minimal, not that much explanatory. So we are going to do that, and I think we compile everything here. So if you want to work with it right now, there is not that much guide. Well, yeah, I have ChatGPT. I hope by, I don't know, 5 minutes later, we have a full-fledged, beautiful manual for or the guidance for running this repository. Just simply can ask and create for us. But right now, if you want to create your instance from this, you need to first create wallets using this script to create your wallets. And you need to follow a naming convention here. RNO1 was the Undertaker, Caesar, Collateral, Debugger, Emperor, Trojan, and so on. But even if you don't want to follow these, it's fine. But you need to come to the environment.conf and change all these parameters. So yeah, like for example, here is all the addresses or payment pub key hash or signing keys, verification, all this. So if you, so it's flexible kind of enough for you. But I hope after that guidance, and maybe I can create a bash script to just run other bash script to create these wallets for you. And then you need to
maybe you don't have to go with wallets, and creating K files is easier. I did it that way.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
That's faster.
I just wanted, some people maybe want to import that to their Eternal as well. Like here, I just import them into the Eternal. If you want to have your phrases and so on, yeah. But of course, there is a one command, one single command to create everything, like just verification key and signing key, and you are good to go. But if you want to have all these files, while these files, I mean these like the extended verification key, pub key hash, addresses, and of course private recovery phrases, you can just go with that to create wallet. But yes, you don't have to. So yeah, thank you, Adrian. And also the good news is Adrian is helping me to to make this structure of this repository, all these codes better. Better in the terms of first understanding, like the following the structure, and second for scalability, because after going through the different voting system, things become complicated. So yeah, I hope. So Adrian is going to push another branch to this repository, and maybe, if you guys want to do some pull requests, it would be fine. We can create branches for you to push your changes, push your stuff there. So this repository doesn't have necessarily to belong to me or belong to one set of code. It can have as long as many branches as you want, and if you want to participate, of course, and then you can push your stuff there. I think that's really cool. And again, thank you, Adrian, for starting this. So yeah, let's compile everything. And after, if you create all those wallets, just come to the this directory, SCG compiler, and inside SCG compiler, of course, run Cabal Reaper, and if everything works smoothly, no problem, you will end up with the file called write all. This is just a script to Haskell script, just to call the functions, and the function for compiling the contracts and JSON file. And JSON file means datum and redeemer. Let me show you what I mean by that. So inside the compiler, let me close this. So this is the write all. As you can see, it's doing just this, like calling the functions, like write a script, main, and so on. That's all. Nothing special. And then, of course, calling the write all function inside write all file. And then it will compile everything and generate all the file. And all of them will be inside the folder called dist. And inside build, there are all the contracts, and inside data will be cores, which are the Bluetooth core of all those contracts. You can come and look to it, see stuff there. Datum redeemer, and of course there is a transaction. We are keeping all this transaction CBOR inside transaction for future study. If you want, you can take this CBOR, decode it or deserialize it, and look into what's going on inside it, which is, in my opinion, very great source of knowledge. So I think we just compile everything. And let me see that my node is not, no, my node is not running. And let me check the node node needs a little bit time to run. By the way, Adrian raised another question, which maybe is a question for you guys too, that in some of the files contracts, especially, or in compiler, you see one file, not file, I mean one parameter, one variable, one function, doing same thing but with different name. And my response to Adrian was, for the sake of clarification, for understanding. For example, here I just, for the debugger, all these debuggers are same. In the debugger are actually the same, but I just change the name. So it would be better for distinguishing which variable, which parameter belongs to where exactly. But of course, this is not that much good practice, really. You don't need to follow this. This is just for that, for sake of here and learning, you know, together learning, less confusion. About the contract as well. Like for example, Adrian asked me again about A1 dat, the logic here, even the structure, kind of everything except some names, and A1 GAT, which is the Area 1 Gladiator authentication token minter, are same. It's technically they're same. As you can see, is two condition. Governance comes and mint something, but for the Gladiator authentication token, gatekeeper admin is going to, the minter admin is going to do that. And first, there is this idea that A mentioned to divide or concern, or what was the name exactly? What was that big word? I forgot about that. That
It's not separation of concern.
yeah, that big word that I couldn't. I think still I cannot pronounce it, but there was that big word.
Yeah, I remember, but I can't remember exactly what the word.
So yeah, the separation of concern, exactly. But there is that big word about that, and this is about defining different layer of security, because this is authentication token, right? This is auth token, defining different layer. And why? Because here let's say this is a. Go ahead.
Was it compartmentalizing or?
Yeah, exactly. Something with I think yes. Yeah. So this word, it means that you need to separate your concern, and in this it is very important for even the designing, the security, and so on. Inside your domain, you need to again separate your concern again because of the authentication. Therefore, instead of using one auth token or identity token or whatever you call that for everything here, and for everything I mean the contracts, for admins, for gladiators, so on, we've decided to go with different layer. And the layer, how to identify that layer are again with auth token. So although the logic is same, but they're using they are used in different layers. So if something happened to that token, we don't know. You know, as you guys could see, we have so many where is this structure? So many vulnerabilities already, and which some of them actually I have no idea even. Yeah, how can you be secure? You have to be you have to think about that if you get hacked or if something happened to you. And again, your first mistake shouldn't be your last mistake. Therefore, I really think that about the auth token, even within your domain, you need to create different layers. So the authentication token for a smart contract gladiators, which we have so many gladiators, they come and goes, will be different for authentication of the RNA proxy or the, by the way, authentication of contracts. The contract itself is authentication, but the admins, like the RNA master here, these guys have authentication as well. And they have the token for themselves as well. Like for example, for access control, which the governor, the token get minted by Senate. But the governor will mint that authentication token for master. But again, the governor is the same person to authenticate gatekeeper contract. And how do we do that? By using reference to TXO and the hash of these contracts. I don't want to go again back to all the things that we have talked in the past couple of months, But yeah, that's the idea. And let me just check that. Are we think? Yeah, okay. So let's start with the first script, as the name suggests. And it is to create or send it. Oh, okay, take care, Newman. See you. And it is creating the Senate and assigning all the senators and sending the and creating the reference script also to the Treasury wallet, to public Treasury. We have two Treasury, and we are going to see why. We have one public Treasury, and we have Emperor Treasury. And again, get separation of concerns. You don't need to go with one Treasury for your dApp. It would be better for going with several Treasury. And I don't know when, but we will talk about the smart contract Treasury, which we have already in GPTE. The Treasury is a contract, smart contract. So how do we implement that in your dApp? How to behave that Treasury as your Treasury, not just a small contract. And maybe I hope we will talk about it. But anyway, so we have just create this Senate and just send it to the public Treasury, and then we are going to create this reference script. And by the way, create reference script, not reference UTXO at this moment, means deploying the contract on Cardano blockchain. Okay, so we can even talk. It's not the correct term, to be honest. Like not like Ethereum, but still, it's kind of that. So create A1 that minter reference script UTXO means deploy the A1 that minter contract. I just wanted to clarify that. Let's go with the two. Okay. We should wait a little bit because we are using same treasury for creating those UTXO after submission. And who will reach to this level? So what is this? Okay, this is a UTXO. Let's oh, run. No. This is the treasury, Republic Treasury. And as we can see, there are two UTXO. So it means that the big one, which is 29,000 something ADA, is a normal UTXO, but this one belongs to Senate. But we execute a script for A1 debts, and we are not seeing that right now. So let me see. I can see. Yeah, here it is. But at the same time, for creating this reference UTXO, one thing again we've done here, we've done two actions. One was creating deploying of reference UTXO issuer, and another was sending to ADA to this contract reference UTXO issuer. And the reason is for activating that contract into transaction, because right now contracts are spending. If you want to use a spending contract, that contract must do some spending. Therefore, there should be some UTXO inside that contract to do that spending. This can be kind of bummer, but that's a standard right now, at least, unfortunately. and then we will send back to the treasury. We have here we have this action for send a script activator to the treasury, and here we specify it has to be only and only the public treasury and treasury address, and it is not hard-coded because I'm using access control reference UTXO data, and I'm just taking the treasury information here. So yeah. Okay, let's go for the fourth one, which is the access control. So you can see the access control for I think this is just access control, but anyway, designation redeemer. This is I'm using the same same redeemer for designating the access control and designating for governor. But if you think we need to go with different redeemer, no problem, we can go. It's fine. But this is a designation. So I just choose this one. But as you can see, all the senator member must sign plus the Caesar. All of them must sign this transaction. So if the Caesar, for some reason, doesn't want to get involved, and the Caesar, by the way, you might say, okay, our DApp doesn't have Caesar. We are not, but let's think about it. Your DApp or your company, if you want to follow actually the current structure of companies, whether it is capitalism or so on, doesn't matter which ideology or which structure they follow, all of them are doing kind of this, that they have a board member, aka shareholders, and then they have a chairman, which is normally the person who has most of the share. That guy is the Caesar. Your board, and even your DApp, and even other DApp in other blockchain, I'm seeing these, that there are people, stakeholders, shareholders there, which we call the board, and then there is this chairman, and these guys can assign a CEO. Here we call that governor. I think your DApp can be COO, CTO, COO, any of these titles. This structure might is for, of course, it is kind of ancient times, but it's happening today. And as I choose this specifically for this reason, that we have this structure already. So if you want to have that treasury, that system, you need to think about it, to this mix of oligarchy and monarchy system, whatever name it is, we don't care right now. And how do we do that? How should this Caesar, this chairman, this DApp founder, whatever you call him, how much he should have power? And then this board. I hope we are going to see today about this Caesar revoke access, and of course, again, this governor, aka CEO of your DApp, your design. So let's take a look to this. So here I've decided, based on the logic, here governance in Senate. So if we want to assign a designation, all of the senators pop cache, this is a list of pop cache. There is no limitation for the length. So you can have 2, 3 senators. I decided to go with 7. And so again, about the wallet creation, you can go with 2, 3. You don't need to go with so many stuff. And yeah, all of them has to sign. And here, but here about the revocation, 50% plus 1, which is like a 51% of Senate member must sign that. Or here is the or. Caesar solely can revoke everything. This or really can define the destiny of your debt. That is it successful or not? Because when things become, when money comes and money flows in your debt, then things become serious and people, have their opinion. And it should be or and. Yeah, I choose or because we want to play with it. But yeah, think about it when you are going to design. And your biggest holder should have a or and here. Okay, let's run this. Great. Now we have the access control. We deploy it, and it is there is this this access control reference. This access control reference UTXO with reference script. So this is a UTXO that holds both a script and reference script datum, and we sent it to the access control contract. We didn't send it to Republic Treasury. It is inside a smart contract. We are going to use it. So this is the one that we are going to test in the 6 script, bash script. Let's see if this idea is good or not. Combining your reference script with reference UTXO. Is it a good idea or not? So let's designate the governor as well. It's as you can see, it's simple. It's not I mean, compared to others, simple the transaction building. Yep, I think it was.
Mix, I don't think I had a chance to tell you, and I'm just realizing it as I think about this. I was talking to Santiago from the TX Pipe team earlier this week, and what he would like to do is provide extra DCUs for PPBL students.
Oh.
And so I told him we already have the contributor token that students are minting when they start to take the course. And we will be putting in the reference datum for each student, which modules they've completed. And what he'd like to do is award more DCUs as students complete more modules.
Wow, that's great.
Right. So I think we can use this directly, right? I was excited about that for so many reasons, but another one is that we need to do the same thing for Dandelion, right? Once we build it for TX Pipe with that team, then we apply the same structures there for this kind of access.
Great. I'm really glad that I'm seeing already this effect is happening.
Yeah, dude.
So that, thank you, James. Then one of the things exactly this one of the main thing that I'm glad. I mean, before I'm going to share something, I see some people are saying, "Oh, Wireshay, this is like tactical information, competition or something." But because of people like you, when take these and use this information as best as it can be, like best possible way, that really motivate me, and I'm really thankful, really, to you, James, that you use this information firstly to doing good things, like in a good intention. Like your first implementation of this design is not, hey, you know what? I designed a DEX for my own self, and thank you very much. Do you want some token from it or not?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is really great, and I'm really grateful, and thank you. And if you need, if any of you guys need help about the coding or something about that, sure, please let me know. I didn't have time to go through something, which I hope we will talk about it next week, about Merkle tree. Merkle tree inside that datum. We talked about it 2 weeks ago with Adrian about how to do that, and sure, there are some limitations because of this design. See that there are 100 people are going to vote, but I saw some suggestion that there some people implement a Merkle tree to put very big, like here, for example, 100 pop key hash into one hash of datum, and you don't need to go through all of these like it is very compact, like they found a way. And really interesting thing is that the person said there is implementation of that design pattern, that Merkle tree design pattern for datum in AK. Already someone built that in AK. It is in the repository or something. So right now, if you face an issue of limitation for a student, like for example, we have 100 students, should we put all of these 100 pop cache inside them? I think no, we have already a way to implement Merkle tree to do that. So each student can again provide the pop key hash, and we don't need to put pop key hash of everyone like one by one inside that data. We can just compact it very nicely. So
yeah, it's really cool.
But someone didn't they didn't say where exactly, but someone told, I mean, inside the certification working group, there was a talk about this Merkle tree implementation, and someone said, yeah, there is this implementation already with Aiken. Someone made that. So we can look up to it, and we can compact it so already. But this is one thing that we have to discuss about in the future for voting. Like here, as I said, that there are specters. So many people wants to vote, and we want to put this inside the datum. As I said, on-chain. Everything should be on-chain. How do we do that? Well, we are not hitting the limitation. So okay, so now I think I need to think about and work on that fast because of this. Great. But how many DCU? I mean, did they say like something worthy? I mean, I'm not greedy, I'm grateful. Thank you.
Enough. I think it'll be enough, right? It'll be an ongoing thing, And right now, it's also interesting because for now, the records of those extra DCUs will be kept on the Demeter servers because that's what they have at the moment. And as we implement it, we will move to on-chain tokens representing those DCUs. So it's a building the system, using it, democratizing it, kind of all at once.
James, it is this is the one. Merkle tree implementation in Java.
Yeah, that's really cool. Thank you.
Let me share the link.
Who's running this? Maddie is running this one. Cool. Man, there's so much good stuff happening right now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good stuff happening.
And see, just last week they pushed it. Last week. It's very, very early, very new. That's really good. So I just thought, with Google, interesting thing, I don't know if you guys noticed, maybe Google already implement AI into their search engine. It's really, really smarter right now. It's a competition. So I just remembered, why not searching right now? Because I thought that there is a bunch of, okay, just Merkle tree, Aiken, Cardano. That's all. It found for us. So yeah, we can look to this, and I think look at the Merkle tree implementation in Java, including proof generation and verification. Is it on-chain or off-chain? I'm not sure. Maybe if it is off-chain, but still, I think it's fine. If it is Java, we can implement it in something. I think if it is, they call it Java. ACAN is Java or Rust, by the way, James. I thought it is Rust.
Yeah, it's based on Rust, but it's not, it's its own language. It's a DSL.
So I wonder this Java is the option code or.
I'm wondering. Well, it says
But
Java here. Like, where is there like an import file where we can see? Right, maybe. Are they wrapping ACAN or something?
no, it is ACAN. I mean, this the live CF trees. This is the contract.
That's
This
an
is-
ACAN file. Yeah. So
Oh.
that's ACAN. So maybe they're, maybe GitHub doesn't even recognize it yet. So you see it says 100% Java.
Oh,
Maybe all
wow.
the files it recognizes are Java.
Someone already wrote 751 ACAN contract. This
Bring
is
it.
big.
All right.
Okay, but yeah, this I don't know. Maybe it is really not possible. I really not possible with Bluetooth. I don't know really. Maybe there was a really good reason because there was the person who told us about this said the other version is in Bluetooth Arc, not Bluetooth TX. So maybe there are limitations of because I think it is just one contract. It's 750 line of AK. I don't think we can write this in Bluetooth TX. I don't think if we will hit so many limitations. So yeah, maybe that's actually a forcefully path that we have to take for continuing the smart contract Gladiator. Like already we have to just leave the Bluetooth TX if you want to, or even with GPTE or something, if you want to implement such new implementation. But okay, but I'm going to look into it because I think we can decide this. But yeah, but anyway. So yeah, Merkle tree implementation, and for that reference for TX in pipe, I think would be good. So let's run this script, the sixth one, and just taking a look into this. We'll talk about that. Creating the A1 gatekeeper reference UTXO with reference script. This script is good. This bash script is going to create a reference script for gatekeeper contract and a reference UTXO for gatekeeper contract. Combining two again, as you can see, this is the guy. This is this line 107. Let me zoom in actually right now. This TX out, this one. Same as the access control, combine a script reference with a script reference or reference script or whatever people call it with a reference UTXO and send that to the gatekeeper contract. But in order to do that, 3 contracts should come here. Yeah, so as you can see, is spending, this is spending, 2 spending, 1 minting. And 2 spending is one of them is access control, because access control is going to just access control is the one that have access the governor. The governor is the one has access to this A1 DAP minter, the domain minter contract to mint domain authentication token. Only governor can do that. Only your CEO of DAP can mint domain authentication token. As you can see, domain authentication token will be used for RNA1 gatekeeper reference UTXO. But if you've decided to go with like reference UTXO, separate with script reference UTXO. I recommend to, of course, I mean, maybe it's forced, but I recommend to mint each of them an authentication token. But here, since both of them are inside one UTXO, we need one. And the governor is going to do that, but governor is going to use reference issuer contract to do that because the logic doesn't exist inside access control. Let me show you. This is an implementation of proxy contract, like taking out the logic for issue, like I just say that it's managed, and putting it in separate contract, which is this guy. And you might say, by the end of the day, you have to put these two contracts inside one transaction. It's become bigger. So why doing that? Why not taking all this logic there? The problem is we have several domains. Sorry, let me just close this, guys. We have several domains, as you can see. And each of them needs several redeemers, several datums, several logic for just issuing reference UTXO for like several contracts. And if you do not take that logic and put it in some other contract, you will end up with a very, very big access control contract, which you cannot even deploy it. You cannot. Here in the, if you can see this, like, where is this? Like, this 22 ADAR, which holds a bigger contract, like this is 12 ADAR or something less or more. The limitation is 75, 74 something. After that, you cannot deploy any contract bigger than 75 because you are passing the limitation of the size of UTXO. So you have to break down your contract. How to do that? Same thing. Take out the logic and put it in some other contract, and then call those redeemers, or of course, or check the transaction, check the contract hash inside the transaction to make sure everything works fine. And this is the reason for having that. Sure, that create expensive fee, but the good news is at least now it is possible to have several logic, so many different logic happening. I mean, you can use those contracts. So you are not bound with one big contract, which you cannot even deploy it. You cannot even use it in one transaction. That's a cost. So let me just keep putting back.
Hey, I got to jump off.
Sure.
Do you want me to make you the, what's it called, host?
Sure, but we can just finish this session. But
yeah, I have also to go.
Okay, let's.
Thank you, Mix. I will push my idea next week.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, we will check together next week.
This is cool how this is coming together. Thanks for this.
Great. And we are in touch, James, about this Merkle tree implementation. I hope with next week we can have some great result.
Cool.
Bye, guys. See you next week.
Thanks, guys. See you soon.
Bye.